Scene script. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to achieve their goals effortlessly while others struggle? The answer lies in a powerful force that propels us forward. That force is motivation. Imagine motivation as the engine of a car. It's the primary source of power that moves the car forward. Without it, the car remains stationary, regardless of how sleek or advanced it might be. Similarly, without motivation, we remain stagnant, unable to reach our potential. Now, let's delve into the two types of motivation, intrinsic and extrinsic. Intrinsic motivation comes from within us. It's the passion or personal satisfaction we derive from doing something. Think about the artist who paints because they love the process of creation, or the runner who gets up early every morning not for a trophy, but for the sheer joy of running. On the other hand, extrinsic motivation comes from outside sources. It could be the desire for recognition, rewards, or to avoid punishment. It's like the student who studies hard to get good grades or the employee who works overtime to receive a bonus. But motivation isn't a one-size-fits-all concept. Different people are motivated by different things. What's important is to find what motivates you and use it to fuel your journey towards your goals. So, how can motivation lead to success? Let's consider a few examples. Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, was cut from his high school basketball team. But his intrinsic motivation, his love for the game, drove him to work harder and eventually become a legend. Then we have J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series. She faced numerous rejections from publishers, but her motivation, her desire to share her story, kept her going. Today she's one of the most successful authors in the world. You see, motivation is the fuel that drives us to reach our goals. It's the engine that powers our journey towards success. So let's ignite that engine and let's move forward. But what about education? Isn't it just as important as motivation? Indeed it is. Education holds a paramount role in both our personal and professional lives. It's like a compass guiding us through the vast ocean of life's uncertainties. It equips us with the knowledge and skills we need to navigate through the complexities of life, and it's the foundation on which we build our future. Think about it. When you learn to read and write, a whole new world opens up to you. You're no longer confined to the limits of your immediate surroundings. You can explore different cultures, different ideas, different perspectives, all through the magic of words. In this way, education broadens our horizons, enriches our understanding, and fuels our curiosity. In a professional context, education provides us with the tools we need to excel in our chosen field. It's like a master key that can unlock a multitude of career opportunities. For example, a person with a degree in computer science has the knowledge necessary to develop software, design complex computer systems, or even create the next big tech innovation. Without an education in this field, these opportunities would likely remain out of reach. It's also important to remember that education isn't just about academic achievement. It's also about personal growth. It teaches us to think critically, to question, to analyze. It encourages us to be lifelong learners, to constantly seek out new knowledge and experiences. Let's take the example of a young girl from a small village who dreams of becoming a doctor. Without education, her dream would remain just that, a dream. But with access to quality education, she can acquire the knowledge and skills she needs to make her dream a reality. She can change her life trajectory, and maybe even the lives of people in her community. So, you see, education is more than just textbooks and exams. It's a journey of discovery, a journey of growth, a journey that shapes who we are and who we can become. Education, in essence, is a powerful tool that can open doors to countless opportunities. But can motivation and education exist independently of each other? Let's delve into this. Motivation and education are two fundamental elements that are intrinsically linked. This symbiotic relationship is one that fuels our desire for knowledge and pushes us to reach new heights. Consider motivation as the engine that propels us forward. It's like an inner flame, a driving force that pushes us to learn, to explore, to question. When the flame of motivation is ignited, we find ourselves eager to absorb information, to understand new concepts, and to expand our horizons. This is where education comes into play. Education, in its broadest sense, is the means by which we feed this flame. It provides the fuel, the knowledge, the skills, the understanding that our motivation craves. But education isn't just about feeding the flame, it's also about stoking it, about keeping it alive and burning brightly. And this is where the interplay between motivation and education becomes truly fascinating. Think about a time when you learned something that sparked your interest. Perhaps it was a fascinating fact about the universe, a gripping historical event, or a compelling theory. That spark, that initial interest, was motivation. And as you delved deeper into the subject, as you learned more, your motivation grew. You were driven to learn more, to understand better, and your education in turn fed that drive. On the other hand, a well-structured educational experience can also stir up motivation. Imagine a teacher who presents a topic in such an engaging way that you can't help but be interested. Or a book that presents its subject matter in a way that is so compelling that you find yourself driven to learn more. In both cases, the process of education has stirred up motivation, which in turn leads to further learning. So you see, motivation and education are not just interdependent, they are mutually reinforcing. Each fuels the other, each stirs up the other, in a continuous cycle of learning and growth. Motivation and education, therefore, are two sides of the same coin. They work together hand in hand to inspire us, to drive us, and to help us reach our fullest potential. But what happens when the going gets tough? This is where the true power of motivation and education shines through. In the face of adversity, challenges are an integral part of life. They are the daunting mountains we need to climb, the vast oceans we need to cross. But let's think of them not as barriers, but as opportunities for growth. Resilience is our shield in the face of these challenges. It's the grit, the determination, the never-give-up attitude that keeps us going when the odds are stacked against us. It's that little voice inside us that says, "I can do this," even when the world around us is saying otherwise. Now, you might wonder, how do motivation and education factor into this? Well, think of motivation as the fuel that keeps our resilience engine running. It's the driving force that pushes us to get up each time we fall, to keep going even when the path is steep and rocky. On the other hand, education is our compass. It equips us with the knowledge and skills we need to navigate through our journey. It helps us understand our challenges, break them down into manageable bits, and devise strategies to overcome them. It's the tool that turns the impossible into the possible. To illustrate, let's consider the story of Thomas Edison. Edison, as we all know, was a brilliant inventor, but his journey to success was riddled with failures. It was his unyielding motivation and his knowledge of science that kept him going, pushing him to try one more time and then another, until he finally invented the electric light bulb. Or think of Malala Yousafzai, a young girl from Pakistan. Despite the threats and challenges she faced, her passion for education and her belief in the power of knowledge gave her the courage to stand up for her rights, transforming her into a global advocate for girls' education. These stories remind us that the road to success is often paved with obstacles, but with the right amount of motivation, the right kind of education, and a resilient spirit, there's no challenge too great to overcome. Challenges, after all, are but stepping stones on the path to success. So, what can we take away from all of this? We've embarked on an enlightening journey today, delving into the compelling realms of motivation and education, and their essential roles in our lives. As we've seen, motivation is the spark that lights the fire, the catalyst that propels us forward. It's that internal drive that nudges us to wake up early, to push through challenges, to strive for more. Without motivation, our dreams remain just that, dreams, unfulfilled and distant. On the flip side, we've discovered the transformative power of education. Education is not just about acquiring knowledge or earning degrees, it's about equipping ourselves with the tools we need to navigate the world, to solve problems, to innovate, and to contribute positively to society. It's about expanding our horizons, challenging our preconceptions, and fostering a lifelong love of learning. But neither motivation nor education alone is enough. They are two sides of the same coin, each enhancing and amplifying the other. Motivation without education is like a ship without a compass, aimlessly drifting. Education without motivation is like a bird with clipped wings, unable to soar to great heights. When combined, however, motivation and education become a formidable duo, capable of unlocking unparalleled success. It's important to cultivate both in our lives. Feed that inner spark of motivation with goals that matter to you, with dreams that make your heart race, and nurture your mind with education, with knowledge, with wisdom. Remember, growth is not a destination, but a journey, a continual process of learning, improving, and evolving. So, as we wrap up, let's reflect on the power of motivation and education in shaping our lives. They are not just abstract concepts, but tangible forces that, when harnessed effectively, can catapult us towards our goals, be they personal or professional. Remember, with the right amount of motivation and the power of education, you can conquer any goal you set your mind to.